All right, everybody, welcome to today's show, Tig's Bits Podcast. We got a good one today. We got Coach Jon Sumrall from Troy University stopping by to talk with us a little bit today on his way down to Sunbelt Media Days in New Orleans. We're going to talk about some football, some food, some music, some culture stuff, where he's from, what he's got going on now. So y'all stay tuned for this episode. Let all your friends know about this episode and past episodes we've put out already. Hit the like, notification, rate button. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a little comment if you would. Go to the YouTube channel, notification button there. We don't really know how all this stuff helps our show, but we know it does somehow. So please do this. Thank you guys for listening each and every week to the Tig's Bit Podcast. Here's the show.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
all right?
we're good.
I got you loud and clear, man. Yeah, sorry for the delay. I was sitting here thinking I was getting like a phone call or something, and I finally asked Jeremiah, my football ops guy. I'm like, "Hey, when are these guys calling me?" He's like, "You got to log into the link." And I'm like, "Well, damn, I didn't know that." Like I'm not an IT guru. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Welcome
So I
to
try
the
to tell
club.
Adam, hey, only one extra step here, but when we get him in here,
Yeah.
we got him on video.
No,
It's
y'all
great.
good.
So I appreciate you going through that extra step. I mean, folks, we're happy to have today right now. I mean, he is the Sunbelt Conference Coach of the Year from last year, the head coach of the Sunbelt Conference champions, the Troy Trojans, Jon Sumrall, man with the maddest social media game in the business as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if I rival Lane Kiffin, but I like to have a good time.
I love the rat boys and stuff you do on there and the little thing. That's always fun. So I will say this. You did have me one time, I think it was April or May. You had something. You had Morgan Wallen had the trailer out there at Troy that was parked. And I almost got in my car. I thought it was time to go to Troy that day.
Hey, look, I was going, my youngest daughter, she was in her last year of pre-K. She goes to kindergarten this year. And so we had to go to a function at her school, and my wife is driving me up. My wife came to pick me up at the office, and we're pulling in. And I'm like, is Morgan Wallen at the preschool? Like, what are we doing? And so but they come to find out one of his truck drivers, his parents live in Troy. And so he had left the truck there. And I'm like, this is way too big of a tease. Like, I thought maybe Morgan Wallen was coming to play in the vet that night.
Oh yeah.
So, and nobody gave me the memo.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, Coach, I'll tell you who you're talking to. So first of all, I'm Chad Blasey. I'm just a big Troy guy. I went to school at Troy, graduated there in '99. Be coming back this year. A bunch of us got a tent there in the north end zone. That's an awesome setup. Great experience to watch football. Then we've got over there with the Blue Room in the background. That's Brantley Salter, Tiggs. He's from Baton Rouge. Just talks all things Southern and food and music and everything else. And then over here to the left with the Alabama poster behind him, that's JR the handler. He's a tour manager and works on tour. He's worked with John Party now with Justin Moore. And so
Nice.
with the music thing, I didn't know, we do talk a little music and a little sports and a little food here. So are you a big music guy? I mean, what's your jam?
Man, I love music. Man. I like John Party. Now that you said that, I like Chris Stapleton. I love Tyler Childers.
Timmy just dropped a new record, too. I
I
think today or yesterday, he dropped some new stuff I saw.
Is that right?
Or teased it at least. Everybody's excited,
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, yeah. Stapleton has a new album come out in November, but he released one song on Friday, and I saw it pop up. I'm like, hey, there's a new album. I'm like, nah, it's just one song.
Right.
I like. I used to love Sturgill Simpson. He's gone a little too far off the deep end
I
on
agree.
me. But no, I really like. If you said, hey, you got to listen to two people the rest of your life, it's it. I'd probably be Stapleton and Tyler Childers.
That's not bad.
But love music. Like John Party. I'll sit on my back porch and play John Party after a night of just hanging out.
Very
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Like him a lot. Well, no, I was gonna say, Tiggs, your name had me really thrown off when I saw about this podcast. If we reverse reverse 2 letters, I'm going to be in big trouble. I'm like, what
You're
is
not
it?
the first to tell me that, Coach. In fact, when I was at the beach last week, and I'm walking along, I saw this mom and her daughter. They were out taking pictures at sunrise, and I kind of walked by them, and I thought I heard them talking to me, and I heard sir, and I turned around. I was like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I can come take your picture. Not a problem. I wasn't. And they were like, no, I want to take a picture of your shirt. I thought it said something else. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot
No
to
doubt.
tell you boys that, but yeah, that happened.
That's funny.
That's outstanding.
So Brantley Tiggs, he was also fortunate enough, Coach, to be there in 2017. He invited me down to Baton Rouge to come over and tailgate with him and hang out, and we got to watch Troy play that year. So he got to experience that awesome game as well. So
the Tiggs moniker obviously comes from, I'm an LSU fan. It's okay. We're hopefully we're done with y'all. I'm also a Troy fan too, but I'm good. If we don't ever play again, I'm going to support you guys though.
Yeah. That was a fun night. That was one I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Man, people ask you, like, what games do you remember the most? And usually as a coach, you remember like the brutal losses, but that was a win that I'll cherish forever. And what a great environment though. I've played, coached, been to LSU a handful of times, and always an electric environment, such a fun place to play a game.
Oh, it's the best, man. We have a good time, and hopefully we're going to have a fun season too. Hey, maybe we can play you in the playoffs, Coach. That would be fun.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, we're going to 12 teams in 2024.
That's right.
I don't see why not.
Exactly. Yeah, that'll be interesting. It's going to be. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We've kind of talked about that on the show some as well. Of you start getting the Troys of the world into the college football playoffs, and anything can freaking happen. So that's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to see all that start to take place.
For the group of 5 schools to have access to getting to the college football playoff in 24, it's exciting because that's all you want is access and opportunity, and so I think it definitely creates almost a March Madness type vibe when you allow that access to maybe the G5 schools.
We're losing you a little bit. The good news is everything you're doing is being recorded on your end, so we'll have it on the back end.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. We're on the way to media days in New Orleans. So
and you just left the golf tournament. I mean, how was the golf tournament today?
It was a great turnout, man. We had a full flight this morning at Wind Lakes, and then a full flight this afternoon too. So a lot of guys out there playing. We had former Troy Trojan quarterback Brandon Silvers, who was our quarterback in that game against LSU there today, and him and AJ McCarron. AJ was our celebrity golfer of the day, so AJ came out, which we had a great crowd though, and a lot of people came to support what we're doing with Troy football.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I could have been there. I'm actually in Nashville right now for work, so unfortunately I couldn't make it. But it's one of those things that I definitely want to be able to attend, hopefully next year. So now you're heading down to Sunbelt Conference Media Days down in New Orleans. I mean, hey, I'll tell you one good thing about it. You got some good food that you're heading down into.
Yes, right.
We are. We're going. I'm taking our 2 representatives, the student athletes, Reddy Stewart, who plays DB for us, and Clayton Allendike. We're going to dinner tonight. I think they're probably pretty excited about getting the opportunity to go eat some good food. And I coached at Tulane for 3 years, so I probably know too many. Restaurants.
Yes, sir. You know where
to
go.
Oh yeah, we moved to New Orleans in December of 2011 or January of 2012, and I moved there, me and my wife, before we had children, and I was like 225, 230 pounds. And within like 6 months, I was like 260. I mean, it was because, like
that rice and gravy will stick, Coach.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're gonna put some sauce on top of the sauce, all right? And so
that's exactly right.
Next thing you know, I was on the road recruiting like later that May in 2012. I'll never forget. I was in Shreveport, Louisiana. Just had gone to watch a high school practice. and I walked into a hotel room right there in Bossier City near the casinos. Not that I went to the casinos, but I looked in the mirror and I thought, golly, I look really bad.
But you felt really good inside, you know.
Yeah, I was
Right.
happy. I was real happy. Yeah. Yeah, but none of my pants fit. So but
My wife's from South Louisiana, Coach, and I live in Houma, Louisiana, is where my wife's from, and I'm from
yeah.
I grew up in Elmore County. I went to Elmore County High School, and then I went to Troy. I went to Troy '98 through something before I ended up on the road. But we live in Gulf Shores now. But I can remember being over there, and you know, everybody does New Year's resolutions. Well, living in South Louisiana for a few years, I learned you make those post Mardi Gras resolutions. Nothing good. I'm waiting till after Mardi Gras Day before any resolutions kick in if you're in South Louisiana.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Yeah, you don't make New Year's resolutions down there. You give up something.
That's
it.
That's what you do.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
Talking about those players, Coach, and you've had a bunch you've worked with and coached over the years and probably played with, I'm sure. You know, when I was in school, I had class with DeMarcus Ware and O.C. Manora when I were in a lot of classes together, and Troy was a great place to watch ball games then. I can remember my first year, we were still D2, and then we went D1 the second year I was in school, and we would beat Marshall. We'd beat Missouri once at the house, I remember. I mean, we had some big wins and great players. And it was starting then, but this is still back when you just showed your student ID to go in. You know, we had the smaller stadium. It was not any of the upgrades like we've got now. Coach Blakeney was on, you know, his last several years of his tenure there. And, you know, the few times I've been back, unfortunately, my schedule on the road takes me I work on weekends, so I don't get to go to near as many games as I like to over the past 15 years or so. But I do make some back, and every year – man, campus is even more electric each year I go back. The stadium looks better. The crowds are bigger. It's more Troy. You know, it always was Troy, but it seems like it's grown. And then outside of just in town and in Alabama where I travel, if I mention I went to school at Troy, I used to have to explain, and probably some to do with that big win over a big team like LSU. Now I say Troy, they're like, oh, yeah, they know, and they know where Troy is. So we were talking about before we came on air just the evolution of the game and sports and media in general. And, you know, since you've been there this go around, I mean, do you see that keeping on? I mean, I'm sure there's nothing but bigger and brighter things in store for Troy in general, but definitely football program since the Sun Belt's as big and as popular it is now.
Without question. I think, you know, the stadium has changed over the years so much. I mean, when I left to go to Ole Miss as an assistant, and then I returned, I had never stepped foot in the North End Zone building. We were building it when I was on Neil Brown's staff, and then it was not completed. And I returned, and it was completed, and I had never been in it. And I was just blown away with how well done that building is, and really how that sort of completes our stadium. It makes it feel whole. You feel like you're in a big-time college football environment now that it's closed in. And our crowds last year were terrific. We played Army and had a sellout. And you're already seeing right now, I think we're going to shatter our season ticket record this year. And there's certain areas of the stadium that are already sold out. You can't get a suite. You can't get a North End Zone tent. You can't get certain access areas because they've been sold out or whatever for a while, which from a football perspective is real. The town is really changing. I mean, you see the growth and the new, you know, restaurants and shops, and it's a quaint town. It's a neat place. It's a college town that is giving our students more and more to do entertainment wise. You're seeing certain things pop up around town that I think are exciting, that add just quality of life and value to what our students are able to do day in, day out. But I love it because it's a college town, and most college towns, football matters. You know, there's some places
Right.
where they might play football on Saturdays and a few people care. Man, football matters in Troy, Alabama. The sign I can tell you that is I can't go anywhere with asking me, hey, coach, how's the team going to be? Or tell me about this. That may keep me at home sometimes because I just want to hang out. But I'd much rather be at a place that they care about, is the football team good, than don't care. And so
Right.
the town is a really special place. It's an awesome place to live and raise a family, and I think it's a tremendous place to be a student. And we love it, man. I mean, we absolutely love it.
Man, that's awesome, Coach. Hearing you say that, and you're right. Going back to that expansion of the stadium and closing that end zone in, how just complete that place is. Gary Wilbert gave me a tour of that facility one day during a game. My mind was blown at just how nice that is in there, man. Like you would think, I remember years ago, like Oregon, were kind of on the cutting edge of facilities and what you would say. And I felt like, are we at Oregon? But it says Troy here, it's just that nice. But,
Right.
we appreciate you being here. I mean, what you've done so far, you've kind of continued what Neil Brown had started. Well, started with Larry Blakeney, and then what Neil Brown carried on, and then you've kind of continued that again. And I think one thing, Coach, I mean, obviously you know what you're doing there as a coach, but one of the biggest things that you bring to the table, in my opinion, that comes across when you talk is your authenticity. It's just I believe everything that you're saying you actually believe, where a lot of people just have the coach talk. Like, I actually think you believe that. I mean, how much is that, do you think, has been a factor into the success that you've had and the buy-in from not only your players, but just the fans and everybody around you?
Yeah, well, first off, I'm not smart enough to have any more personalities than one. I got one personality. Like I don't have a political spiel or a different, like, hey, I put this hat on here. My wife will tell you my greatest strength is also my greatest weakness. I'm brutally honest. When people don't ask me how I feel about something without wanting to know the truth. And so I'm gonna shoot you straight whether you like it or not. But no, and I'll tell you this: I think the biggest group that can identify fake or BS is 18 to 23-year-olds. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to trick a college kid on what's real. They see through fake real fast. And so,
Real fast.
I care deeply about what I do. I care deeply about who I do it with, and I care deeply about where we do it. And I believe that if you're real and you really invest in others, man, you get rewarded tenfold. Like I tell our whole staff, I remind them probably weekly, hey, this ain't about us. Like last time I checked, if there weren't any players, there wouldn't be any coaches. I got 4 young kids at home that love coming to watch our football games. None of them show up to the game to watch me coach.
Yep.
Not one of them. And so we're there to serve our players. We're there to develop our players. We're there to provide them with the resources and support that they need to grow to become their best. And yeah, I can, I have a great deal of respect for Larry Blakeney. I've gotten to spend, I got to spend a decent amount of time around Larry when I was an assistant at Troy, when I came with Neil, and just developed such a friendship with him, and have gotten to spend a decent amount of time with him since being back, which has been fun for me to see him and Janice, since being back a handful of times. And then Neil and I were at the beach together a couple weeks ago. We go to the beach a couple miles apart every summer and see him every summer. And Neil's been a tremendous friend to me over the years, and away from football, but also in regards to the game. And so much of what we do at Troy is sort of a hybrid of what we did at Troy when I was with Neil, and then what we did at Kentucky with Mark Stoops. It's kind of a mash of both things. Yeah. So I don't know if you like bourbon or not, but it's the football mash of Mark Stoops and Neil Brown, kind of how we do it.
I think that's a recipe for success, Coach. I think that's going to work.
No doubt. Hey, and I know firsthand that it does affect and it shows outside of even there. I met a ball player of yours last year or earlier this year on a flight somewhere, and I saw his Troy, and a big fella, and we got to talking. Offensive lineman, couldn't have been nicer kid. Just totally what you want an athlete from your school to go represent when he's not with the team. You know what I mean? So I just know that firsthand that does transfer over to the players with the authenticity and being real. And you're from Alabama, like rest of us. You're from Huntsville area, right?
That's correct. Yeah, me and my wife both grew up in Huntsville.
Yeah, and I saw Grisham High School. That's my brother is about your age, and he had some wars with some wrestling guys from your high school back then. That was a good. Yeah. They had some good wrestlers during those years. I remember because my brother had some tournaments with some boys from there. And we were talking about music earlier in the Huntsville. Do you get back to Huntsville much? Your family still there?
Yeah, my mom and dad still live there. My in-laws still live there. I got back up there in April for an event that I was at. Don't get back as much as I like. I get back for recruiting here and there. But yeah, we get up there every now and then. My wife probably gets there a lot more than I do.
Yeah, because we're talking about places growing, and that's the number one place to move in the country right now is the Huntsville area. And talking about music earlier, we haven't played it yet, but I've had a few friends that have played the new amphitheater there, and they say it's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people rave about it. I need to go check it out. It's supposed to be nice. Growing up as a kid up there, we used to have the Big Spring Jam. And that was kind of the big thing we used to have. They don't have that anymore. But that new amphitheater up there, people have said great things about. And they've gotten some big acts that come there. Huntsville, every time I pull in, I don't recognize it. I'm like, this is not really where I grew up. It used to kind of be sort of a slower, smaller, sleepy, town, city where a whole lot really didn't go on. And now it seems like there's something new popping up every time we pull into town.
Yeah, the only thing I ever remember when we get the times when I go back now is Sammy T's is still there. Sammy T's is still hanging on somehow. And
the Sammy T's Music Hall, yep.
I did that with Wayne Mills right when I first got in the music business. We would go up there and play, and man, good times in Hunts Vegas back in the day. And that too in Troy, when I was at school at Troy, I remember Paisley came through town and played right on my way out, and we used to have some big acts play on the tennis courts there and stuff like that because there's not really a venue in Troy. We'd either have them at the basketball stadium or the parking lot. You really have to go to Montgomery or Dothan for anything like that. But there was some good ones there too. Speaking of that, we're going to actually be in Dothan in a few months, Coach. If y'all aren't got a game that week or something, love to have you and any of your staff want to come down. Take care of y'all for sure.
Heck yeah, man. When are y'all going to be in Dothan?
It's Thursday, the October 26th.
Got it. Yeah, I'm probably busy October.
Yeah, I got a feeling you may be, Coach.
That's what I just realized. I thought it was in end of November, but
yeah. I was hoping you were going to tell me like February or something.
So what's your idea, Coach?
JR, we should definitely, though, we should arrange a big concert at the Vet. I don't see why not. You know what I mean? We got a great venue right there. We should get in touch with the university. I think we could have a good time.
That sounds like a good idea. Yeah, there were some good ones, like I said, back in the day. And I'll mention that to one of the agents and see who they talk to and then get the ball rolling on that.
I'd like for it to not happen during the season though, so I can partake in the party. If it happens in October, I can't party. So we need to make it happen in the off season so I can throw down at the concert.
Well, Coach, I know we're up against it here. We're actually over, and I appreciate you spending time with us. I did want to point out, I noticed the other day that your wife, Jenny, has Jenny's Charities, and I saw where they've got like a coffee drink they've made after you there. John's Joe. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that can be supported a little bit?
Yeah, so Village Coffee there in Troy. There's one location out on Highway 87, and there's one down on the square too, right catty corner to where Bird's Drugs is. And they came up with the idea of making a coffee named after me. So John's Joe is the regular coffee, and then they got a couple other ones. One's called Coach's Cup, and it can be the Ice Coach is the cold version, and the Coach's Cup is the hot version. Those are like the fancy drinks, but really, we got involved. They brought the idea to us, and $1.50 or so off of each cup of coffee is going to charities that my wife sort of has partnered with. The biggest one that's really our focal point is Common Ground, which really serves as a mentor group to young boys in the Troy community. that our team is very involved with. A lot of our players spend time over there, and I do as well. It's a tremendous organization. One of our former players that played at Troy, Kyle Nixon, works over there full time, and so a couple other charities that we'll give to as well. But Common Ground is the main one that we've partnered with, and really just trying to give back to the local community. We, like I said earlier, we do have a passion for Troy and want to be able to serve not just the football program or the university, but the community at large in any way possible. And they brought the idea to us. I showed up and tasted the coffee, and they let me pick which ones we were selling. It was good stuff. They gave me some of it. I drink Spark. I drink coffee. I drink anything to give me energy. And so we're excited about it. We're excited to partner with them, and really we're thrilled to be able to give back to some local charities that help our community.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome, man. Well, listen, we're going to have a tent up there in the north end zone. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe you guys get up real big in a half or something, possibly. You come up there, have a beer with us, you know what I mean? Maybe hang out during halftime.
Yeah. Last year, we weren't up real big at many games at halftime. We were always making it real interesting. And today at the golf tournament, I had a guy say, hey, if y'all don't play well in the first half, how would you respond to somebody yelling at you like, hey, get your act together? I'd probably look up and say nothing at all. Or if I did say anything, I'd say, you're right, we're playing like crap. We need to get better. We're not playing any good. So
Right.
I'm pretty honest on that too. And so, I'd like to get some leads, but last year's team, the way we played, we had rock fights each week. We tried to see if we could beat somebody to submission and win 10-9.
That's old school. Old school.
Hey, it was fun. It was fun to watch. It was stressful, but it was fun.
It was. We had a few games, like the championship game, where we kind of blew the doors off. But I think we'll be. I think we'll probably be a little more explosive offensively this year, and hopefully we can take some of the stressful moments out of it. But look forward to seeing y'all there at the north end zone. That's a great fan experience and a tremendous place to watch a game.
It really is.
Yeah, no doubt.
Is.
And we'll have to make sure, Coach, I get your ops guys info, and we'll swap info, because if there's everything in the country music world you ever want to go to, let me know. I know everybody. I can get you guys hooked up, and also I'll send you some music, some new up and coming acts I think you'd like, because your musical ears, right? I think I can see where you lean to. So we'll make sure to hook up with him and
come on, man. I love it. Yeah, I'll get you his info, and you might regret making that offer, because I'll be asking you for everything.
It's all good, brother. Hey, I've been needing some. I'm wearing my early 2000s Troy swag, so I think we can make a swap here. You know what I mean?
We'll get you. Yeah, we'll get you taken care of there. We can make that. We can get you upgraded.
All right. Well, y'all don't let the student athletes coming with you eat too many muffaladas and jambalaya and oysters rumula tonight. But y'all have a good time in the Crescent City, no doubt.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on.